And so, as I say, it's a marvelous, wonderful day, and we have every reason for optimism and every reason to be thrilled, and especially with all these marvelous programs that we have. You know, if you ever do feel like you don't have a reason to be thrilled or happy, well, all you got to do is tune in these programs like Tanya Love, and she'll get you going in a hurry. I mean, to tell you, and I don't know what happened there a while ago, but it clicked on before it was supposed to, and so I'm going to give her going to start this again and get it started off at the beginning like it's supposed to be. And so anyway, I'm going to have my nice coffee and in these little K cup brew cups. It goes in your little brew cup maker, and I'm going to put them in my little my Joe and fix that and have my breakfast and all and listen to Tanya Love and see if I can get a little bit more excited. I know she will. She always lifts me up a little higher, so let's get her going there. She's all geared up there and in the right place, and so she's going to begin giving us some wonderful things.
Greetings, everyone. It's
Tanya. Greetings, Tanya.
Welcome to Tanya Love Show. We've had interesting technical things happening with our computers today, so hopefully everything goes well, but I guess we just learn we're not in charge of everything, and this is our lesson to be patient. Today's show, I feel led to talk about the importance and power of meditation, and not just meditation as something to explore as a hobby and maybe take a few workshops and then you just forget about it and move on back into the craziness, but really to embrace meditation as a daily tool to assist us in living more authentically and more aligned lives, to really help us to connect with Source and to remember that even when things go crazy, as Amnon and I just experienced with computer stuff, that we can also go within and just be at peace with that and realize that it's all happening for some reason and that we can learn how to be in control of our own energy. And so that's what I feel led to talk about today. And I've been meditating for over, I would say, probably about 14, 15 years now. And in the beginning of that journey of taking daily time to just be quiet and still and to reflect and go inward and feel my stuff and heal and clear my stuff, it was very difficult. It was really a huge test just to stay committed to the path. And there was times where, as I was tuning in, things weren't always fun. Everything that I had to look at wasn't necessarily beautiful. And I say that because some of you that are feeling called now to really know self and to really tune in and be authentic, you're going to have stuff you have to feel, and you may have to face things that you've done a really great job of tucking away and kind of hiding in the shadows. And the freedom and liberation will really come in that moment of going inward and really looking into it instead of resisting it another day. And so we're gonna go into all of that today, but it was interesting because I was on a trip this weekend to Seattle to see my sister, and she's going through a lot of stuff, a lot of changes in her life, and being very empathic, I feel energy and I can really pick up on energies. And if there's chaos and there's stress, I feel that stuff powerfully. And so being around it was a very interesting thing for me just to observe and to really, it triggered a lot of memory, like emotional memory of when I had been in situations that were not loving and when I was going through separation with my ex-husband. And it was really interesting and intense to be in that energy. And then when I came home, I had to deal with stuff with my son, and there's just like standing my ground, standing in my power, and demanding that, those who are in my home environment show respect and show reverence and honor. And so there was just all this intense energy last night. And on my journey home, I felt so at peace in the car. I was like looking at the sun setting to my right. The moon was on my left, beautiful full moon. And I knew that moon had some influence in the energies and the intensity. Well, last night I got home and I was just kind of processing everything, and I just started to cry. And I was like, sometimes when I'll tell my beloved, I just am feeling so much. And some of us, I feel like the ones that are very sensitive, that we have this gift of sensitivity and empathy, we feel stuff sometimes that we don't even understand. And there's times where the waves of energy and change on the planet can hit an empath so intently that it can be quite overwhelming. And so I have literally come into my power and learned how to live on this planet and to really function and not just survive, but to thrive from the connection with daily meditation. So the importance and the power of connecting with source and being quiet and still, I cannot express enough in words how important and how vital that will be for every soul. And I really feel that, you know, when I'm teaching my meditation classes each week and my yoga classes, I talk to the students about, you know, one day you'll look back and we're going to, as humanity, look back at this time on the planet and just, I feel like we'll just be like, wow, look at how disconnected we were.
Yeah,
how ignorant we were, living so in fear and so separate and just in the illusion. And what will wake us up and reconnect us again will be that meditative experience. It isn't anything fancy. I think sometimes people have this preconceived idea of meditation as being, you know, you're wearing a robe and you're chanting and you have to travel to India and you have to do all these things to be able to meditate. And then if you're a good person and you're a sage, then, you know, you may be worthy. Honestly, meditation is simply stillness and presence. And ultimately, as I have taught yoga, my yoga students and my meditation students, is that our ultimate goal is when we come to the mat and we sit and we connect with our pranayama breathing and our asana, our physical poses, and we're connecting with source. It's not just about being on our mat and like being really fancy in our outfits and being able to do these amazing yoga poses and, you know, take some Instagram pictures and show them off to everybody. That's fine. But the essence of why you're coming there is to condition and strengthen your connection with source. It's to remember who you are. And so as we come in that daily practice of connecting, it is ultimately there to awaken a life journey of living in alignment, of living as one with source, and really walking the walk. So ultimately, when we go and we're practicing in meditation or yoga, we're really coming to that place to take a seat and connect at the seat of our soul and to really listen. And as we do this with consistency and we practice, it will become more natural. I feel in essence, this is our natural state, is to be in this state of presence. But we have been raised and conditioned on a planet where it has been from birth, you've been conditioned to deny self, to go away from self, to separate, to put everyone in boxes, label them, attach to things, disconnect from other things. This has been a taught behavior. But in essence, our connection, our oneness is our truth. It's what we are. And so some of us coming to the mat, that may be just the first moments of remembering. And then as we remember and we cultivate that daily practice, we really get to this place where we are learning to live in a moving meditation. And that, I feel, is the ultimate goal or the ultimate journey of why we practice yoga or why we meditate, is to one day be the enlightened one. And being an enlightened one does not mean that you're from a certain country or you wear a certain costume. In fact, often that can create a separation and it can start to create a disruption in source-connected energy. So really being enlightened means that as I'm sitting here now, even though my computer was having issues, even though my teenagers may disrespect me at times, even though maybe not everything's flowing perfectly as what my ego would like it to be, I can still stay calm and centered in the center of all of that energy and know that I am good and I am enough, and that I am supported, and that everything's going to work out. And I've honestly learned that awareness and that understanding and wisdom within me, that I see many look to me, and like my family members, they'll come to me and they'll ask advice. They'll just be like, you know, Tanya, what do you think I should do? And I feel honored that they come to me because at some level they see that I have wisdom and I have learned how to move and navigate on this planet. And they know I'm sensitive. They know the Pisces sensitive spirit that I am, that will not even feel sad, but be around someone that's going to cry, and I'll just be like, whoa, and I start to cry. And like last night as I was crying, I'm just like, what is all this? And I'm just,
marvelous
there was like a sense of grieving, and there was a sense of release, and a sense of cleansing and purifying of energies that are just bombarding the planet that maybe I couldn't even put into words. And my soul was okay with that. It was just like, wow, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. And it was just like intense. Well, I say that because I'm going to read you a little thing. I was on Facebook a little bit earlier this morning, and there was a girl, and she's a sweet soul, and she's very positive for the most part. And she was kind of calling out for love and support and just saying how things were just not going well for her. And she just didn't understand, like, what is going on? Like, what is this intensity? And I could tell, I could feel empathy for her and compassion. I could feel the deep calling out of help and relief. And so a person had tagged this on her post, and I wanted to read it to you because it's connected to the full moon right now, which is a super moon, and it's in Pisces. And as I was reading it, it made so much sense to my soul. So I knew I was guided to her post, and I read this, and it helped answer deeper questions in me. So if any of you out there today are just feeling kind of emotional and feeling just like, what the F? Like, truly, if you're just having one of those days where, like, what the crap is happening, and you just feel this intensity, or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, and you think it's maybe just little things, but when you get inside, it's like, no, there's a deeper overwhelmment here. What is this? So tune in on that. And I'm going to read this just briefly to you. It's about the full moon, and it's what's going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
It said the full moon, or the harvest supermoon, is bringing a deep feminine water of Pisces to cleanse our emotional realms. There is a potential for deep healing at this time. The full moon is what I am calling a waterworks full moon. The moon in any water sign is already very emotional, sensitive, and receptive. But I would argue that Pisces is the most sensitive of all the signs, which made me laugh because I'm a Pisces, and yes, that is pretty much true. With the full moon in Pisces, we have a heightened sense of sensitivity, which could bring us to the point of bliss or to the point of pain and suffering. If you find yourself in tears leading up to this full moon, know that I can't read. Now you know why. I think crying is very good. It helps you to release all that you are holding on to. The moon conjunct Chiron is a very heavy aspect. There is a wounding and pain around emotions being supported, nurtured, and being contained. Since Pisces is a sign of vast consciousness, there is simply no way to put a container around all that it feels and experiences. Which that made so much sense to my soul, because there's often, as I feel Source speaking through me to explain things, that wisdom comes through of that it's really not something we can just label or just to put into words. It's so beyond that. For me to teach you the power of meditation, I can in words guide you there, but to truly understand the wisdom of knowing self and connecting with Source is an experiential thing that you have to experience to really understand it. So yes, as a connected one, I can speak and be a messenger for spirit, but often those messages will not be as full as the truth, because to put it into words already starts to, fragment it. So anyway, so back to what we're reading about. The full moon can bring up some deep psychic stuff around childhood, past, and or the shadow self. Looking at any wounds and pain or denial we have around codependency, enabling, addiction, victimization, or playing the martyr is key right now. So really great things to tune into. I know for myself, as I looked into that, I was really tuning into the enabling aspect of how oftentimes I feel like I'm being a good mom and I'm trying to help my children. I do things for them. But often, if there's not much respect shown after and they're not really learning their lessons, I have to take a step back and be like, this is yours. You need to deal with this. Like, you need to learn from this. Because my taking it over, my caring it for them, I can do it. I've learned how to, be very responsible. But these children need to learn that. And so sometimes we as parents need to watch that balance. We need to watch that we're giving them room to make their mistakes. We're